You wake up in the morning, go through your routine, drink your coffee, maybe read the news. But something feels off. You can't quite put your finger on it, but the excitement, the energy, the motivation you once had, it's not there like it used to be. Maybe you've told yourself it's just part of getting older, that everyone slows down, that feeling this way is normal. But what if it's not? What if the way you feel right now isn't just a natural part of aging but the result of small, unnoticed changes that are quietly reshaping your mind? The truth is, after 60, your mental health is just as important, if not more, than your physical health. Yet, many people don't realize that their habits, their thoughts, and even the way they spend their days can slowly erode their emotional well-being, leading to loneliness, anxiety, and a life that feels smaller than it should. But here's the good news, it doesn't have to be this way. Once you recognize what's happening, you can take back control. In this video, we're uncovering 10 things that may be secretly destroying your mental health after 60, and more importantly, how you can stop them today. If you care about keeping your mind sharp, your spirit strong, and your life truly fulfilling, hit the like button and subscribe, because taking care of your mental health starts today. You don't notice it at first. It starts with small things, turning down an invitation because you're tired, skipping a phone call because you'll catch up later, assuming that friends and family are just busy with their own lives. At first, it seems harmless. You tell yourself that you enjoy the peace and quiet, that solitude is just part of this stage of life. But before you realize it, the days turn into weeks, the weeks into months, and suddenly, your world feels smaller, quieter, lonelier. The truth is, isolation doesn't just change your social life, it changes your brain. Studies have shown that prolonged loneliness triggers a stress response, increasing levels of cortisol, the hormone responsible for anxiety and tension. Over time, this chronic stress wears down the hippocampus, the part of your brain responsible for memory and learning, leading to cognitive decline, trouble concentrating, and even a greater risk of dementia. Your body interprets loneliness as a survival threat, keeping you in a state of heightened alertness, making sleep less restful, increasing fatigue, and draining the joy out of everyday life. But the effects go deeper than just brain chemistry. Isolation rewires your thoughts, too. When you spend too much time alone, negative thinking patterns start to take root. You begin to assume that people don't reach out because they don't care. You convince yourself that making new friends at this age is impossible. And worst of all, you start believing that this is just how life is now, empty, predictable, and lacking the warmth it once had. But let me tell you something, this is not the way life is meant to be. Your brain is wired for connection. Humans are social beings, and no matter how independent or self-sufficient you may be, regular human interaction is vital for your mental and emotional well-being. The good news? You can reverse the effects of isolation. No matter how long it's been, no matter how disconnected you feel, you have the power to rebuild meaningful connections and bring back the richness of human interaction into your life. Start small. Send a message to an old friend. Make the phone call you've been putting off. Say yes to an invitation, even if your first instinct is to decline. If your current social circle feels distant, don't be afraid to seek out new connections, join a local group, attend community events, or explore hobbies that naturally bring people together. Some of the most meaningful friendships in life are formed later than you expect. And if you've been waiting for a sign to reconnect, this is it. You are not alone in this. There are people out there who would love to hear from you, who miss you more than you realize, who would welcome the chance to share a conversation, a laugh, or just a simple moment of connection. But they can't reach you if you keep believing that isolation is your only option. If this message resonates with you, hit the like button. Let's break the silence together. There was a time when the little things excited you, trying something new, planning a trip, picking up a hobby just for the fun of it. But lately, nothing seems to spark that same feeling. Days blur together, motivation feels out of reach, and even things you once enjoyed don't bring the same satisfaction. You assume it's just part of getting older, that excitement naturally fades with time. But what if I told you that it's not aging, it's your brain's chemistry? At the center of it all is dopamine, the neurotransmitter responsible for motivation, anticipation, and reward. It's the chemical that makes you feel excited about life, that pushes you to try, to explore, to engage. But as you age, certain habits start silently depleting dopamine levels, rewiring your brain to expect less, to crave less, to settle for passive routine instead of real experience. The problem? Your brain adapts to whatever you give it. When you replace real experiences with passive stimulation, like hours of television, scrolling through social media, or repeating the same daily routine without variation, your brain stops releasing dopamine in the way it used to. It learns that nothing new is coming, that nothing exciting is on the horizon, that life is predictable, and therefore, not worth anticipating. And the less dopamine your brain releases, the harder it becomes to feel motivated, inspired, or excited about anything at all. This is the dopamine trap. The slow, unnoticed shift where instead of pursuing the things that once brought you deep satisfaction, socializing, creating, learning, moving your body, you start opting for quick, easy distractions that require no effort but offer little real joy. And the scariest part? You don't even realize it's happening. You just wake up one day and feel stuck, unmotivated, empty. But here's the good news: you can get dopamine working for you again. You can rebuild the sense of excitement and anticipation that makes life feel meaningful. The key? You have to retrain your brain to expect reward from the right things again. It starts with breaking the cycle of passive stimulation, reducing mindless scrolling, excessive TV time, and repetitive, unchallenging habits that offer easy but shallow satisfaction. Your brain is craving novelty, but it needs the right kind, the kind that makes you feel alive. Try something new, no matter how small. Take a different route on your walk. Eat something you've never tried before. Learn a new skill, not because you have to, but because curiosity is what keeps the brain engaged. Make plans, things to look forward to. Dopamine thrives on anticipation. If every day feels the same, your brain has nothing to get excited about. Planning a small trip, scheduling time with friends, or setting a personal goal gives your mind something to anticipate, which naturally boosts dopamine levels. Move your body. Exercise isn't just for physical health, it's one of the most powerful ways to restore dopamine function. Even light movement, like stretching or dancing to a song you love, can jumpstart your brain's reward system. Shift focus to effort-based rewards. Real, lasting satisfaction comes from things that require a little work. Painting, gardening, writing, playing an instrument, anything that requires focus and offers visible progress triggers the dopamine cycle in a way that passive entertainment never will. This is how you break free. This is how you reclaim your excitement for life. Because the truth is, your brain hasn't given up on joy. It's just waiting for you to remind it what joy feels like. If you're still watching, drop a comment below. What's one thing that used to excite you that you haven't done in a while? You catch yourself thinking about it more often than you'd like. The choices you didn't make, the words you should have said, the moments that slipped through your fingers. Maybe it's a career path you never took, a relationship that ended on bad terms, or a mistake that still lingers in the back of your mind. Regret is a weight that doesn't just sit in your thoughts. It shapes how you feel every single day. As you get older, it's easy to look back and see not the things you achieved, but the things you didn't. The opportunities missed, the friendships lost, the time wasted. And the worst part? The mind has a way of making the past feel bigger than it really was, replaying moments over and over as if you could rewrite them. But you can't. And holding on to them won't change what happened, it only robs you of the happiness you could be feeling now. But regret isn't the only thing that weighs you down. Resentment, the quiet anger toward others, toward circumstances, even toward yourself, can be just as destructive. Maybe someone hurt you in the past, and no matter how much time has passed, the sting of that pain hasn't faded. Maybe you still carry anger toward a situation you had no control over. Maybe you even resent yourself for not being stronger, wiser, or more prepared. These emotions don't just sit in your mind, they manifest in your body. Studies show that chronic regret and resentment increase stress, raise blood pressure, and even weaken the immune system. They keep your brain locked in a cycle of negativity, making it harder to enjoy the present, harder to look forward to the future. And if left unchecked, they can turn into something even more dangerous, a belief that it's too late to feel happy again. But here's the truth: you do not have to carry this weight forever. You are not bound by the past, and the way you feel today is not set in stone. Letting go isn't about pretending things never happened, it's about refusing to let them control you anymore. So how do you break free? First, acknowledge what you're holding on to. Regret and resentment thrive in the shadows, growing stronger when ignored. Take a moment to be honest with yourself. What thoughts from the past keep creeping in? What stories do you keep telling yourself about what should have, or could have, been? Next, rewrite the narrative. The past is unchangeable, but the way you frame it is within your control. Instead of looking at missed opportunities as proof of failure, see them as lessons that shaped who you are. Instead of resenting someone for what they did, recognize that holding on to that anger only punishes you, not them. Forgiveness isn't about excusing the past, it's about freeing yourself from it. Then, shift your focus to the present. Regret keeps you looking backward, but life is happening right now. The more you dwell on what's gone, the less you notice what's still in front of you. Ask yourself, what can I do today that brings me peace? What small choice can I make that moves me forward, instead of keeping me stuck? And most importantly, accept that it's okay to let go. You are allowed to move on. You are allowed to find joy again. The past is only as heavy as you allow it to be. If you've ever struggled with letting go of the past, hit the like button. You're not alone in this. You wake up, and before your feet even touch the floor, your mind is already racing. The worries begin before the day has even started. Bills to pay, health concerns, family tensions, the uncertainty of what's ahead. Stress has become a constant companion, a weight that never quite lifts. Maybe you tell yourself it's just part of life, that worrying means you're being responsible, that there's nothing you can do about it. But what if I told you that chronic stress isn't just stealing your peace? It's physically aging your brain. Stress isn't just a feeling. It's a chemical reaction, a biological process that rewires your brain over time. When you experience stress, your body releases cortisol, the hormone designed to help you respond to danger. In small doses, it's useful. But when stress becomes constant, when your brain is always in survival mode, cortisol starts doing damage. It weakens the connections between brain cells, shrinks the hippocampus, the part of your brain responsible for memory, and increases inflammation, which accelerates cognitive decline. It's not just making you tired, it's making your brain age faster. Have you ever walked into a room and forgotten why you were there? Struggled to focus on a conversation because your mind was elsewhere? Felt exhausted even after a full night's sleep? These aren't just random moments of forgetfulness. They're signs that chronic stress is taking a toll on your brain. Over time, high cortisol levels have been linked to an increased risk of dementia, depression, and even cardiovascular disease. And yet, for many people, stress is so deeply ingrained that they don't even notice how much it's controlling them. Worrying becomes a habit. Your mind learns to anticipate the worst, to constantly scan for problems, to stay stuck in loops of "what if?" You tell yourself you're just being cautious, that stress keeps you prepared, but in reality, it's keeping you trapped. And the worst part? The more you feed stress, the more your brain becomes addicted to it. It's a cycle, one that won't break on its own. But here's the truth: stress is not an unavoidable part of life. You may not be able to control every situation, but you can control how your mind and body respond to it. And by doing so, you can reverse much of the damage and protect your brain from further harm. So how do you start? First, break the cycle of mental overdrive. Stress thrives in an overactive mind, one that's constantly replaying the past or predicting the worst about the future. The solution? Pull your focus back to the present. Whether it's through deep breathing, meditation, or even just stepping outside and feeling the air on your skin, the more you train your brain to be here, now, the less power stress will have over you. Second, change how you talk to yourself. Most stress is created not by external events, but by our interpretation of them. The words you use in your mind. This is too much, I can't handle this, everything is going wrong. Shape how your body responds. What if, instead, you started telling yourself, I will get through this, I am capable. Or, I can take this one step at a time. Your brain listens to your thoughts more than you realize. Third, move your body. Stress isn't just mental, it's stored in your body too. Exercise, stretching, even just standing up and shaking out your muscles releases built-up tension and signals to your brain that it's safe to relax. And finally, prioritize real relaxation. Watching TV while scrolling on your phone isn't true relaxation, it's distraction. Find activities that actually restore you, whether that's reading, playing music, or simply sitting in silence for a few minutes a day. Your brain needs space to heal, and you have to give it that space intentionally. Chronic stress doesn't have to define your life. The more you take steps to break its grip, the more you'll realize how much energy, clarity, and peace you've been missing. If you're still here, hit that like button, because managing stress starts with awareness. You wake up, follow the same routine, drink your coffee, read the news, maybe watch a show or scroll through your phone. The days feel predictable, comfortable even, but there's something missing. You don't feel as sharp as you once did. Names, details, even memories seem harder to retrieve. You assume it's just aging, that slowing down is inevitable. But what if I told you that it's not time that's making your mind weaker, it's inactivity? Your brain is like a muscle. If you don't use it, it starts to shrink. Neurons weaken, connections fade, and over time, the ability to think quickly, remember details, and process new information begins to decline. The scariest part? This process doesn't happen suddenly. It creeps in, hidden in the comfort of routine. And the more predictable your days become, the less your brain is challenged, and the faster this decline happens. Repetition is the silent killer of mental sharpness. When your brain isn't forced to adapt, to learn, to problem solve, it stops growing. This is why research shows that people who engage in mentally stimulating activities, learning new skills, playing strategy games, even doing puzzles, maintain stronger cognitive function as they age. Meanwhile, those who settle into passive routines, where every day looks the same, experience a faster decline in memory, focus, and mental energy. Think about it. When was the last time you learned something completely new? When was the last time you challenged yourself with a complex task, something that required real concentration and effort? If it's been a while, don't be surprised if your mind feels slower. It's not because you're getting old, it's because your brain is waiting for a challenge. The good news? You can rebuild mental energy. You can keep your brain sharp, even regain some of what you've lost. But you have to break the cycle of passivity. Start by breaking your routine in small ways. Take a different route when you go out. Try writing with your non-dominant hand. Cook a meal you've never made before. Small disruptions force your brain to wake up, to make new connections, to stay engaged with life. Next, learn something new every day. It doesn't have to be complicated. Reading about a topic you know nothing about, picking up a new hobby, or even practicing a few words in a different language all create new neural pathways. The more you challenge yourself, the more your brain adapts, and the stronger it becomes. Move your body to move your mind. Physical activity isn't just good for your heart, it increases blood flow to the brain, improving focus, memory, and problem-solving skills. Even a short daily walk can have a massive impact on mental clarity. And most importantly, stay curious. Ask questions. Seek new experiences. Meet new people. Engage in conversations that make you think. The people who age the best, the ones who stay sharp, energetic, and full of life, are the ones who never stop learning, never stop challenging their minds, never stop growing. If you're ready to wake up your brain, subscribe to the channel. Let's grow together. You go to bed, hoping for rest, but wake up feeling just as exhausted as the night before. Maybe you toss and turn, unable to quiet your mind. Maybe you fall asleep quickly, only to wake up in the middle of the night, staring at the ceiling, wondering why your body refuses to rest. Or maybe you think you're getting enough sleep, yet every morning feels like a battle to find the energy to start the day. The truth is, poor sleep doesn't just make you tired, it rewires your brain, alters your mood, and slowly chips away at your mental health. Sleep is not just about resting, it's the foundation for everything else in life. Your emotions, your focus, your ability to handle stress, and even your long-term cognitive health all depend on how well you sleep. Yet, so many people treat sleep like an afterthought, something they'll catch up on later, as if the body can store rest like a bank account. But that's not how it works. When sleep is consistently poor, the effects start to add up, and before you know it, your reality changes. Lack of sleep doesn't just make you tired, it makes you emotionally unstable. When you don't get enough rest, the part of your brain responsible for regulating emotions, the amygdala, becomes overactive, making you more reactive, anxious, and irritable. Small problems feel like major crises. Motivation disappears. And worst of all, you start losing the ability to feel joy in everyday life. It's no coincidence that chronic sleep deprivation is strongly linked to depression and anxiety. And it's not just your mood that suffers, your memory and cognitive function take a massive hit, too. During deep sleep, your brain processes and stores new information, clears out toxins, and strengthens neural connections. Without enough quality rest, these processes break down. You forget things more easily, struggle to concentrate, and find yourself feeling mentally foggy throughout the day. Over time, chronic sleep deprivation increases the risk of dementia and other neurodegenerative diseases. So why do so many people struggle with sleep? It's not just about time, it's about quality. You could be in bed for 8 hours, but if your sleep is interrupted, shallow, or out of sync with your body's natural rhythm, you'll still wake up drained. And in today's world, there are hidden habits that are silently destroying sleep quality without people realizing it. One of the biggest culprits? Screens before bed. The blue light from phones, TVs, and computers suppresses melatonin, the hormone that tells your body it's time to sleep. Even if you feel tired, your brain is still wired, making it harder to fall into deep, restorative sleep. That's why scrolling through your phone at night, even for just a few minutes, can leave you feeling exhausted the next day. Another common problem? Irregular sleep schedules. Many people stay up late, wake up at different times every day, or try to catch up on sleep over the weekend, throwing off their body's internal clock. But your brain thrives on routine. When your sleep schedule is unpredictable, your body never fully knows when to rest, leading to lighter, less effective sleep. And then there's stress and overthinking. If your mind races at night, replaying the day's worries or making mental to-do lists, your body might be in bed, but your brain is wide awake. Sleep requires a sense of calm and relaxation, yet many people go to bed carrying the weight of the entire day with them, making it nearly impossible to fully shut down. So how do you fix it? First, set a consistent sleep schedule. Try to go to bed and wake up at the same time every day, even on weekends. Your body loves rhythm, and the more predictable your sleep is, the better your brain will function. Second, cut out screens at least an hour before bed. Instead, wind down with a book, soft music, or a simple relaxation exercise. Give your brain the signal that it's time to slow down. Third, create a nighttime routine that actually prepares your body for rest. Dim the lights, do some gentle stretching, or practice deep breathing exercises. The more you associate these actions with sleep, the easier it becomes to transition into deep rest. And most importantly, deal with stress before you go to bed. If your mind is overwhelmed, try journaling, meditating, or even just taking a few minutes to consciously let go of the day's worries. Your bed should be a place of rest, not a battlefield for your thoughts. The difference between thriving and just getting through the day often comes down to something as simple as sleep. When you prioritize rest, everything else in life starts to feel easier. Your mind is clearer, your energy is stronger, and your motivation returns. If this part hit home for you, leave a comment. What's your biggest sleep struggle? You wake up feeling sluggish, your mind foggy, your body heavy. The day hasn't even started, and yet you already feel drained. Maybe you tell yourself it's just a bad night's sleep or that it's stress, but deep down, you can't remember the last time you felt truly energized, focused, and in control of your mood. What if I told you that what you eat plays a bigger role in your mental and emotional well-being than you ever realized? Food isn't just fuel, it's the foundation for how you feel every single day. The problem is, many people unknowingly sabotage their mood, energy, and motivation by eating foods that slowly drain them, both physically and mentally. Your brain is an organ just like your heart or liver, and it's affected by what you feed it. A poor diet doesn't just lead to weight gain or sluggishness, it actively disrupts brain function, making it harder to focus, regulate emotions, and find joy in everyday life. And the biggest culprit? Inflammation. When you eat too many processed foods, sugar-loaded snacks, and artificial additives, your body responds with chronic inflammation. This isn't just about bloating or joint pain, it directly affects your brain. Studies show that inflammation in the brain is linked to depression, anxiety, and cognitive decline. It disrupts neurotransmitter function, making it harder for your brain to produce serotonin and dopamine, the chemicals that regulate mood, motivation, and happiness. Ever noticed how you feel sluggish after a big meal loaded with processed carbs and sugar? That's not just your imagination. It's your body struggling to process a flood of glucose, leading to blood sugar spikes and crashes. When your blood sugar levels swing wildly throughout the day, so does your mood, causing irritability, fatigue, and difficulty concentrating. But here's the good news, the right foods can do the opposite. Just as some foods drain your energy and happiness, others can boost your mood, sharpen your focus, and restore balance to your emotions. So what should you be eating? First, focus on whole, nutrient-dense foods. Fresh vegetables, lean proteins, and healthy fats give your brain the building blocks it needs to function at its best. Omega-3 fatty acids, found in salmon, flax seeds, and walnuts, are essential for brain health and have been shown to reduce symptoms of depression and anxiety. Next, prioritize gut health. Your gut and brain are directly connected, and a healthy gut microbiome plays a massive role in regulating mood. Fermented foods like yogurt, kimchi, and sauerkraut contain probiotics that support gut health and improve mental clarity. And don't forget about hydration. Many people walk around chronically dehydrated, not realizing that even mild dehydration can lead to fatigue, irritability, and difficulty concentrating. If you're constantly feeling sluggish, one of the simplest changes you can make is to drink more water throughout the day. Of course, just as some foods support mental health, others actively harm it. Processed sugar is one of the worst offenders. It leads to short-term energy spikes followed by crashes that leave you feeling even worse. Fried foods, excessive caffeine, and artificial additives also disrupt brain function, increasing stress and making it harder to feel emotionally stable. The difference between feeling exhausted and unmotivated versus feeling energized and ready to take on the day often comes down to the choices you make at every meal. Your diet is either fueling your mind or slowly shutting it down. So if you've been feeling off, if your mood has been unstable, if your energy has been low, it might not be stress or aging. It might be your food. And the best part? You don't have to make drastic changes to see a difference. Even small adjustments, like swapping processed snacks for whole foods, drinking more water, or adding more omega-3s to your diet, can transform the way you feel. If you're still here, like the video, because fueling your mind starts with awareness. You wake up at the same time, drink the same coffee, take the same route, watch the same shows, and go to bed at the same hour, only to repeat it all over again the next day. There's a certain comfort in routine, a sense of predictability that makes life feel stable. But what if that stability has quietly turned into stagnation? What if the very thing keeping you safe is also slowly draining the joy and excitement out of your life? The human brain is wired for novelty. It craves challenges, stimulation, and the thrill of learning something new. When we stop seeking out new experiences, our brain chemistry changes. Dopamine, the neurotransmitter responsible for excitement and motivation, declines. Neural connections weaken, and over time, even the simplest things start to feel dull. It's not that life has lost its magic, it's that you've stopped inviting magic in. Maybe you've noticed it, the feeling that days are blending into each other, that there's nothing to look forward to. This is the routine trap. It doesn't happen overnight. It sneaks up on you, disguised as practicality, as comfort, as just the way things are. And before you know it, your world has quietly shrunk into the familiar, and the thought of stepping outside of it feels uncomfortable. That discomfort? That's your brain begging for something new. You might tell yourself that trying new things is for younger people, that change is exhausting, that your best experiences are behind you. But none of that is true. Studies show that people who continue to explore, learn, and challenge themselves maintain better mental health, higher cognitive function, and greater life satisfaction, regardless of age. It's not about making drastic changes. It's about breaking autopilot, one small step at a time. So how do you do it? First, recognize the signs of stagnation. If you can't remember the last time you learned something new, if days feel predictable and uninspiring, if your conversations are mostly about the past instead of the future, it's time to shake things up. Start small. You don't have to move to a new city or change your entire lifestyle. Take a different route home. Try a dish you've never eaten before. Read a book on a topic you know nothing about. The goal isn't radical change, it's breaking patterns. Next, embrace discomfort. The reason routine feels safe is because your brain loves efficiency. It wants to conserve energy, and routine makes life predictable. But growth happens outside of comfort. Say yes to something you'd normally say no to. Sign up for a class, join a new group, start a hobby you've always been curious about. The hardest part is starting, but once you do, you'll remember what it feels like to be excited again. And most importantly, reignite curiosity. Ask questions. Try things just for the sake of trying. Engage in conversations with people who think differently than you do. The world is still full of surprises, but you have to be willing to seek them out. Your life is not meant to be a loop of repetition. You weren't meant to spend your days watching time pass, waiting for something different to happen. Because if you're not careful, one day you'll wake up and realize that life didn't get boring, you just stopped showing up for it. If this made you think, hit like, let's break free together. At the end of the day, everything comes down to a choice. The way you feel, the way you think, the way you experience life, it's not just a result of time passing. It's a reflection of the habits you've built, the thoughts you've nurtured, and the choices you make every single day. You can choose to accept that feeling stuck, unmotivated, or disconnected is just part of aging. Or you can choose to challenge that belief, to break the cycle, to take control of your mind instead of letting time dictate how you live. Because the truth is, your mind is still capable of joy, excitement, curiosity, and growth, if you allow it. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking, this is just how things are now. That feeling of being tired all the time, of going through the motions without real excitement, of watching the days pass without much meaning, it's not inevitable. It's a signal. A wake-up call. It's your mind telling you that something needs to change. And here's the most important part. It's never too late to start. Whether you're 60, 70, or beyond, the brain is adaptable. It can heal. It can grow. It can be rewired for happiness, but it requires action. It requires you to step in and take responsibility for your own well-being. So ask yourself, what kind of life do you want from this point forward? A life where you wake up, go through the same motions, and let time slip away. Or a life where you take back control, where you challenge your mind, nurture your body, and open yourself up to new experiences, no matter how small? The choice is yours. It always has been.